pulling power with ixm.co.uk, where cars go faster.
This week, is this Italian rival to the TVR Cerbera really worth £60,000? We put it through its paces. Also, are cheap security devices up to the job? We test them to their limits and find out how to hire a holiday dream machine.
Pulling Power have sent me to Paynton in Devon to an amusement arcade with a bunch of 50p pieces. What the heck, let's blow them! Spin, spin, spin! Yeah, second! A new machine that I have not tried before. Let's have a go. There's no hole for me to slot my cash. In fact, this is no plaything. This is the Sparrow, the very latest electric car. This car may look like Mr. Blobby's love child, but it will do over 100 miles an hour, eventually. Wayne, what is your involvement with these cars?
Well, we're the official importers of the cars from California.
And what sort of people would buy them in this country?
The cars are designed purely for the commuter, the guy that goes to and from work every day. There's no need to have a big car when you're on your own.
Running the car is incredibly cheap, but it is worth remembering that you will have to replace the batteries every 3 to 5 years, and this will set you back around £1,200.
The car that you're in is actually being used for drag racing in America, and it's won many drag racing competitions. That has a top speed of about 115 miles an hour. Now, the acceleration of that will outrun a 911 Porsche. That's 0 to 60. But the only problem is this car, it's got to be on a dry road because it just spins the back wheel up otherwise. This is a normal car, this does about 70 miles an hour.
Well, there's not an awful lot to say about the inside of the car. You've got your steering wheel, you've got this little switch here, which you can go forward or backwards, so there's no gears whatsoever. Frightening little sticker here that says Mike Corbin assembled by Jesus. This little baby can do 40 miles for 50p. It takes 2.5 hours to fully charge, then you're back on the road and you can drive, drive, drive. But is it any good for a trip to the local shops? Well, it's an electric car, so what about boot space? Is there going to be enough room? I don't think so. It fits, but it's a squeeze. Ooh. It's actually like driving a dodgem car. It even sounds like a dodgem car. I wonder if this is what Noddy feels like. Well, I've just taken it for a wee test drive and it was very uncomfortable to drive. I've got a very sore bottom because we went over a few bumps and there's not much suspension. I felt completely unsafe, and when the big lorries were coming I thought, oh, this is it, it's all over. It was very difficult to drive. The steering was really hard. I know it's energy efficient, but so is walking, and I would rather walk. Apart from that, it was all right. The Sparrow may not be for me, but it does have its positive points. It won't clog your lungs up with lead pollution, and some Sparrows have been adapted for use by the disabled. The main thing this car has to get over is the embarrassment factor. Will you feel cool whizzing past your mates in it, or will you hide your face in shame? I'll be wearing a balaclava. Oh, he's very funny, yeah, stick your fingers up. Oh, aren't I funny? Yes, freak girl and freak car, yeah, go on, laugh. For £9,000, you can get the standard Sparrow. So, will this car be a hit? Who knows? For the price of this car, you could drive off in a Citroen Saxo or a Ford Ka. There's only only so much electricity a girl can take in one day. I definitely need a rest.
What's your car worth? £1,000? Maybe only a few hundred. But if you think it's not worth protecting, think again, because to a thief, it could be worth 3 times its book value in parts. Never mind the bonus of those carelessly left valuables on the back seat. Recent Home Office figures show that older cars are more at risk of being stolen, and as most of us do buy second-hand, you and me could easily end up coming back to something like this. In 1999, over 1/3 of a million vehicles were stolen. Cars most at risk are small and medium-sized saloons. The newer the car, the less likely it is to be stolen because it will have more sophisticated anti-theft devices on board. So how far should you be prepared to go? Well, in South Africa's crime-ridden cities, they take things a mite too far. If you have got an older car without deadlocks or an alarm, what should you do? Is it really worth spending between, say, £20 or even £70 on one of these? And just how efficient are they at stopping a thief? We've come to Thatcham in Berkshire, a non-profit making research centre where a team of people spend all day breaking into cars, pitting their wits and skills against ingenious security devices. It's a funny old way of earning a living, isn't it? Breaking into cars.
It is, yes, but we also do lots of other testing here. We do damageability and repairability. We also do impact testing, all to advise the insurance groups.
Is it really worth on an older car fitting an extra device though, particularly if you haven't, say, got deadlocks or an alarm?
Well, it is, yes. I mean, what we call it is the Blue Sierra syndrome. If you've got 2 old cars in a street, one of them somebody's prepared to put security on and one somebody isn't. And when you get up in the morning, you'll find the one with the security is still there.
Pulling Power suggests that you look for devices that have been subject to independent testing by either Sole Secure or Thatcham. Now, for any security device to get Thatcham accreditation, it's got to withstand attack testing for at least 5 minutes. Now, Tim, one of the Thatcham engineers, is going to try and remove this from the steering wheel. Now, for obvious reasons, we're not actually going to show you how he's going to do it. We're just going to see how long it actually takes. And he's actually removed a bit of it. I won't tell you what it is. And it's not looking in such a good state this time. And bear in mind that security devices like this one are attached to cars across the country. Thank you very much. Well, A, you wouldn't be able to use this again, and B, I don't think that took 5 minutes to remove. Now, this one is Thatcham approved and it can withstand at least 5-minute attack testing. My problem with this one is, although it's a great security device, I mean, it's just so heavy, it's awkward, and I know that if it was mine, it would spend its entire time gathering dust in the boot. Now, I've just put this one on, so let's see how this one fares. Away you go, Steve. Well, that's getting on to about 3 minutes. Well, I reckon that's 4 minutes and still no impression. Steve, I'm going to stop you, you'll be relieved to know. That has not moved, has it?
Not at all.
So a success, and if you'd like further details about the most cost-effective car protection devices available, check out our website. Car crime is coming down. 20,000 less cars were stolen in 1999 than the previous year. So increasing security on cars is having an impact. And if you want to buy the least likely car to be stolen, invest in a people carrier. Statistics show that thieves won't touch them, they're just so uncool.
Forget Rome, forget Venice, forget the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
If you want to study the Italian classics, you need to head for the small industrial town of Modena. Lamborghini, De Tomaso, Maserati, Ferrari have all based themselves here, and now there's a new name entering the fray: Qvale. Launched in the UK at Birmingham's International Motor Show, the Mangusta is Qvale's first car. The £60,000, 150-mile-an-hour roadster is powered by a glorious 4.6-litre V8, and on paper at least, it has all the right ingredients to make it a classic. Of course, to be a proper Italian sports car, you have to have a history. Ferrari, Maserati, they all have their legends, and Qvale qualifies as well. Legend has it that when he was a 10-year-old, Bruce Qvale was given a ride in a De Tomaso by the man himself, De Tomaso, and he promised himself that one day he too would build an Italian sports car. And he isn't alone in his love for European sports cars. Back in the 70s, his father Shell owned West Bromwich-based Jensen and was instrumental in the launch of the Jensen Healey.
It sort of fits the old Healey position, and we think it'll appeal to all the people that like the old Healey. And of course, in America, it had a tremendous name. We sold thousands of Healeys, and we will again.
Unfortunately, they didn't, and Jensen eventually went bust. But this time, Qvale are determined to get it right. With the emphasis on Italian craftsmanship, they're hoping to eventually hand-build 600 cars a year at their new assembly plant in Modena. The first right-hand drive models are now being made and will be arriving in the UK in early April. Now, anybody jumping into this car straight out of a modern Ford Mustang would be forgiven for feeling very much at home. The interior is all more or less out of a Mustang. All the switchgear comes from that car, and the engine as well. 320 brake horsepower, 4.6-litre V8, a massive great lump. Very sophisticated though by the standards of modern V8s, very smooth power delivery. Nevertheless, the overall feeling is of something that's been based around a Mustang, but given that little bit of Italian treatment on top. This car was designed by Marcello Gandini, the guy who was responsible for the Lamborghini Countach and the Lamborghini Diavolo. So, what does it look like? Well, from the front, it's a mixture of 60s Ferrari and Maserati. It's a masterpiece in my view, very beautiful, very aggressive and very stylish. The line is very unusual though as you work your way down the side. I love this little touch here, this hole in the side of the wing mirror. Very interesting, very 70s. Down the back here, Gandini's signature, a kinked wheel arch. It's rather like Roger Moore's eyebrow. Now, if the front is a mixture of Maserati and Ferrari, the back is pure Dawn French, very bulbous, and in my view, it lets the whole car down. But one unique selling point of this vehicle is the roof. You can either have it as a coupe, or a Targa, or a convertible.
Tell me everything I'm not, but don't ever tell me to stop.
Really enjoyable car to drive this, I can't tell you. Really fantastic. If you want it to be comfortable and easy, it'll do it. If you want to get involved with it, it's got great grip, fantastic balance, wonderful brakes. You can pitch it into the corners, it's extremely stable and well centered. Another thing I really like about this car is how easy it is to maneuver. It's only small, the gearbox is very easy to work. You can throw it in and out of gears, quick turns like this. It's real sort of Starsky and Hutch stuff. If I had to sum this car up, I'd say it's halfway between a Jaguar XK and a TVR. Unfortunately, the Mangusta hasn't got the class of a Jag or the blistering performance of a TVR. But don't underestimate Qvale. They've got the background, the experience, and above all, the Italian passion to make it a winner.
After the break, which of these two cars will get you noticed and drive the car of your dreams? Well, at least for the day.
Tomorrow on ITV.
You were caught in a public place.
Carrying your baby.
I'm carrying... What, my baby? Your family baby? You're carrying a baby? Papoose?
The Vice at 9, and after the news, it's Badil and Skinner Unplanned at 10:50.
Imagine a young entrepreneur running a successful hairstyling business, just back from a New York shopping trip with his new girlfriend.
Hi.
Hi, where are you?
Shopping, of course. How are the cars?
The cars are fine. I still can't make my mind up which one to go for. Do you fancy making up?
Now he's looking for a new car to match a trendy upmarket lifestyle. Simon Moran from Birmingham is one of the 90s success stories, and he's planning to spend around £15,000 on a head turner. So we suggested he take a look at two very different but distinctive sets of wheels: the Chrysler PT Cruiser and the Seat Leon Cupra.
OK, the PT Cruiser. Great looking car from the front. It's got a fantastic grille on it, great lights, brilliant alloys, great little badge on it, the PT Cruiser, lovely little touches of chrome. But when you get to this section of the car, I don't know what's going on here, but it reminds me of a hearse. You look at it and you think, that's a spoiler. And it's a roof rack, which is great to put skis on, or a coffin if you've got no room in the back. Everything folds up really easy, but if you're a woman, you're going to have a lot of difficulty trying to get this out because it weighs a ton. I was expecting the car to drive like a hot rod. For a 2-litre 16-valve engine, it's flat. You really have to go up the gears and really give it some welly, give it some high revs to get anything out of it. Really, what I think they need to do is put a V6 in it, or at least put a turbo on. In a word, it's a cruising car, and that's it. Fantastic. As you can see, I'm smiling. This car is absolutely blistering, the proper hot rod. You've got great views all round, you can see everything that's going on. The steering is absolutely precise. The brakes on this car are absolutely fantastic. Fantastic gearbox. Click, 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 and you're through the gearbox. Every time the turbo kicks in, it's bringing a smile to my face. I want this car, I want to take it home, I don't want to give it back to pulling power, I want to keep it.
But it wasn't all fantastic.
Right then, the Seat 20-valve turbo, yellow. On a Ferrari, yes. On a Seat, no. And this thing, I mean, this is just a little bit too tacky for my liking. Look at this condensation. It's nearly 3 o'clock and it's still there from this morning. But apart from that, the car's absolutely fantastic. People like Subaru, Mitsubishi, all your other cult cars need to watch out because there's another big boy on the block, and this is it.
Simon may have made his mind up, but his girlfriend will take some persuading. She's a big fan of the Cruiser.
So, what did you think of the cars?
I didn't like the PT Cruiser too much.
You didn't?
No.
It's pretty funky though, isn't it?
It's a bit like a taxi though, hearse type vehicle.
I like the front though.
I know you like it, but I don't want it.
Yeah, but I'm going to be borrowing it when I go shopping, aren't I?
I know you like it, but I don't
What
want
a dilemma. Go for the Leon and ditch the girlfriend, or say yes to the Cruiser, move out of hairstyling and into undertaking.
All right then, I think I'm going to have to toss a coin on this. Heads the PT Cruiser, tails for the Seat. Heads it is, but I'm sorry, PT, I'm going to take the Seat.
You'll know all about cheap cars in America after our LA Motor Show report. But the truth is, they're not much good to you out here. They're all left hookers, and they're difficult to ship back to the UK. So what do? Well, my advice is, jump on a plane, get yourself out to California, and rent one of the darn things. Well, anybody who's holidayed or worked in the States knows all about inexpensive car rental. It's available everywhere. But in a place like Los Angeles, it's an entirely different story. We're talking about serious metal here. We're talking about real muscle cars, exotic cars, limousines, hot rods, and also some of the rarest cars on the planet.
Now, the mighty Volkswagen empire do not build a cabriolet version of the new Beetle. But so what? Amazingly, you can still rent one in LA. Oh, and black is the colour to be seen in this season. Uncle Henry Ford would approve.
So, Stephen, I mean, you know, there's 1,000,001 car rental companies in America. What's the difference about yours?
Well, we specialize in the most exotic vehicles. People that just dream about owning a Porsche, Jaguar, Ferrari can actually come and rent one for the day.
So, to put it kindly, you may never be able to afford to own one, but you sure as hell live the life in one for a day or two.
Absolutely, with the top down.
Only in LA. You know, this is the way things work around here. If you want to impress that special person in your life for a 24-hour period, you can hire this, one of the world's most exotic and desirable cars, the Lamborghini Diablo. Problem is, you'll need £2,000 in your pocket if you're going to rent this car for a day. Ouch. Well, as you might imagine, the pulling power budget doesn't quite stretch that far, so after some tough negotiations, we've managed to secure a quintessentially English Jaguar, one of the hottest cars in LA, for a mere 200 quid a day. Let's cruise.
Driving in the frantic City of Angels is not for the timid, the inexperienced or the slow driver. But it is a great place for travellers demanding maximum bangs for the buck. It's not difficult to find fuel for about £1 a gallon.
Talking of filling up, you know, America's got to be the best place in the world for inexpensive roadside eating. Pull into a diner like this, just off the famous Sunset Boulevard, and you can have the Denny's Original Grand Slam. 2 sausage links, 2 cremated pieces of bacon, 2 eggs done any way you like, 2 hot cakes, gallons of maple syrup. How much? About £2. The sort of money you'd pay for a cup of coffee at a British motorway service area.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
And you know, when you want to bed for the night, you can stay in the most famous street in the world, Sunset Strip, at a big hotel like this, frequented by rock stars, great view of the city. And you know what I'm paying to stay here? About 70 quid a night.
But don't get the idea that everything's cheap. Rodeo Drive might be one of the most glamorous shopping streets in the world, but it's also one of the most expensive. And if you've got anything left, you could always purchase a modest Hollywood holiday home, which will cost you several millions, plus the cost of that obligatory armed security guard.
La La Land, eh? Crazy cars, crazy prices, crazy people. But I tell you, if you're a petrol head, it's the only place to be.
Well, if you fancy a spin in a dream machine, then you may be in luck. Pulling Power has got together with the NEC in Birmingham to launch a brand new live event. The 2001 Sports Car Show will feature all the world's most desirable machines under one roof, and even includes the opportunity to go for a ride in one of 50 exotic sports cars. We'll also be offering the chance to win 5 laps in this amazing 2-seater Formula 1 car. And if you want to know what that's like, then I'll bring you a full report in the next programme. Check out our website for details of the Sports Car Show, as well as the last chance to win our LPG-powered Range Rover. See you next week.
And Pulling Power's back at the same time next week. That's 10 to 11. Pulling Power with ixm.co.uk, where cars go faster.
Good evening. New Labour was rocked to the foundations today when its chief architect and schemer, Peter Mandelson, was forced to resign for the second time in 2 years, and this time it looks as if there's no way back. Just a few months before a likely general election, Tony Blair described it as tragic and paid tribute to Mr Mandelson's work in Northern Ireland. Tonight, the Scottish Secretary, John Reid, became the new Northern Ireland Secretary. Peter Mandelson had to